There's a lot of advice out there about when a brisket is deemed done. Some people swear by a feel, some swear by a number, typically 203 degrees. So instead of guessing, I cooked 4 briskets, pulled every single one at a different internal temperature, rested them at the exact same way overnight in my warmer, and today, well, we're slicing all of them to see what actually works, because I want to find out at what internal temperature is a brisket actually done for the best results.
Welcome to the party people, barbecue freaks. It's not typical for you guys to join me this far downstream, but here we are. Briskets have been on now for exactly 7 hours and 38 minutes and counting, and they are in the stall. I can see my grease drain right there, and it was just dumping fat. I pulled the temp not too long ago. I pulled the temp, set the camera up, started yapping, and at that time they were hitting at about 155, 158, somewhere in there. So here's the course of action. The course of action, it is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. The course of action is I have 7 briskets in total. I'm donating all these briskets. However, I have selected four briskets that were the most consistent in weight and just kind of the shape and the look. They were the most consistent. And I'm going to pull each brisket in 10-degree increments. So the first brisket I'm gonna pull at 185, and I'm gonna go 185, 195, 205, 210. It's gonna be a little dance of if I can hit each one, because as you guys probably know, briskets are unpredictable. To be able to pull a brisket at exactly 185 and then triage them will require me to be inside of the smoker more than I'd like to. So I'm gonna be popping this door a lot to make sure that I'm tracking all of these briskets. But the test today, guys, is really important. How do you know when to pull a brisket? We're gonna talk about this more later, but the point of this video is not how to cook a brisket. The point of this video is for me to bring you guys in downstream, like I said, and then show you what happens when we pull briskets sooner and then pull them later and then utilize warmers to our advantage. My intention over the next 48 hours is just to run a test so that we can all, as a collective community, barbecue community, we can all kind of use this as source material for us to learn and grow and develop our knowledge and foundation of barbecue, specifically brisket, without everyone having to go out and buy multiple briskets and run the test. So we're on the 1,000 gallon, and I'm doing that. I know people don't like when I use 1,000 gallon. They're like, Marcus, we don't have that. I understand, guys. I didn't used to have one either, but I have one now, and I enjoy it. And then for the purpose of this video, it'll give us ample, this is me opening the doors on my smoker. It'll give us ample space. I want space, guys. I don't want anything crowded. That's why we picked the 1,000 gallon. So this section right here is not a super in-depth deep dive right now. This is just the first real check at the smoker, so you guys can kind of get a lay of the land. And then as we get closer, as that sun starts to go down and we get closer to nighttime, timers are gonna start going off. So I'll catch you guys back in a little bit as I start planning kind of what briskets are gonna start coming off. See you guys in a little bit. Brisket number 1 is off the pit. It was tracking a lot faster at 195. There's one on the pit right now that clocked 185. So this one, they're about 10 degrees different. So I gotta wrap this real quick, and then I'm just going to let it sit in the foil, not going into the warmer yet. This is gonna go into the warmer in an hour, maybe 2 hours, when the rest of the briskets are done. It smells delicious. So yeah, this one's going off to the side, just so you guys know. The entire cook, I was only probing right in the middle. However, the middle started to feel really, really buttery. So I started pulling temps in the point, and the points were moving along. So this was 195 in the point. So I was temping the whole time in the midway spot. And then once it started to feel really good, I moved over to the point. I haven't done anything with the lean at all as far as temps are concerned, only because it is what it is. Like if my point is done, but really done, the lean's just gonna be the lean. Again, this isn't how to cook a brisket. I have a lot of those videos. I just want you guys to know where I'm pulling temp so it's all consistent. 90% of the cook right dead in the middle. Last 10%, I moved over to this point side to make sure that we really weren't overshooting. Fresh off the pit, I'm out of breath and out of shape. It's cold outside and I walked away, so this is probably dropped. Yeah, it's dropped immediately. This, I pulled it right off the pit at 185, and this one's feeling 185. The lean, just a little firmer point, feels decent. All right, 185 is wrapped up. Now, this one's going immediately into the warmer. I'm going to explain all of this in depth tomorrow when we're back and we have the briskets and everything's died down. But it's important to me, out of the integrity of this experiment and my respect for your guys' learning, that I stay as accurate as possible. So I'm not gonna do a whole bunch of diving in tonight, other than telling you this one just came off second and it's going right into the warmer because well, I'll explain it later. Stay tuned, I'll explain. So brisket 205 is, I just got it off the pit. I just wrapped it up. I wanted to note two things. First, I went back retroactively for the briskets. I already wrapped and I put tallow on the bottom just a little bit. So that's all consistent across the board. The second thing I want to note, at the furthest point of the point, it was 205. Obviously the outsides are going to be hotter than the inside. I probed the inside, and when I say inside, I mean closer to the middle, and portions of that were like 198, 199, somewhere in there. So I was just looking for a 205 temp in the point because it was just so tender. Guys, what I'm not doing is running a test on how to botch 4 briskets. So like the internal pitmaster in me is just, I just had to pull that. So it got 205. It is extremely tender, very tender. I am nervous for what brisket 210 is going to look like, but we'll see. So at this point, I'm just going to do the same process. Tallow, foil, let it sit on the countertop for about an hour, maybe hour and a half, and then into the warmer. We got one more brisket, that's 210. I'll get that in the warmer, and then we'll circle back tomorrow, really for the meat and potatoes of this video, figuring out all this pulling temperature rigmarole. All right, see you guys in the morning. Yesterday I cooked 4 briskets on the same smoker with the same fire, following the same process. The only variable, when they came off. One came off early, one came off late, the other 2 somewhere in between. Every brisket was wrapped the same way, in foil with beef tallow, and then placed in my warmer overnight for 12 hours. So at this point, there's nowhere for the results to hide. We're gonna slice every single brisket. I'm gonna present you those slices, and you can come to your own conclusions on where you think the best temperature is to pull a brisket for the best results. Behold, brisket number 1, 185. I don't know if you can see that. The tape is on the top because I took this experiment. It's not really an experiment. I took this test so seriously that I taped this marker. Now, I'll tell you this, guys, what I really want to do is pour tallow all over the butcher block and make the brisket look nice and shiny. I am just not gonna do that, mainly because I don't wanna make a mess, and I got more briskets to trim, and this is just gonna be all messy if I do that. So here it is. This is 185. This is what 185 looks like. And I'm just gonna pull some important slices. So first, I'm gonna come down in here, separate the point from the flat, and immediately, oh my goodness. That is so much moisture. Yeah, guys, that is insanely juicy. Holy cow. And right off the bat, I'm not gonna do too much talking. I just want you guys to know, pulling at 185, the lean underneath it's firm. It's really firm. The lean could go a lot further. The point, it certainly has more give, but I'm gonna flip this lean over. We'll do that second. And then let's break into this point. The point looks unbelievable. It really does. Let's check this out. So here's our point slice, guys. Here's our point in all of its glory. Great marbling, gelatin-like, good structural integrity. The lean underneath the point, it's definitely more tender than the lean, but just so you guys can see, I'm just gonna Give it a little tug. There you go. Look at that little nugget. That's the bite. Okay, here we go. Oh, so good. Oh, that's really good, guys. Okay, I'll share my thoughts of all these briskets at the very end, but just know, gosh, that was good. Let's just go right off the opposite end. And now we're into the lean. Let's check it out. And here's our lean, guys. It looks good. You can see a little moisture there. Certainly on the firmer side. Not super dried out, but it's got some moisture. Wouldn't be hard to paint some tallow over this and make it look really good, but just so you guys can see, that's it right there. Let's test it out, right in the middle. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It eats like a 185er. Again, I'll give you my opinion at the end. It's no good. 195. I don't even know if that's coming in focus. How do we feel? How do we feel? Yeah, lean's a little bit softer. Yeah, you can just, that's crazy. I'm gonna say my opinions. I wanna tell you what's interesting about that. All right, 195, that's what it looks like. My goodness, it's just every time it just starts pouring out juice. It's just running. That is insane to me. All right, same play. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Behold, 195. This is the point. I'm not going to tell you anything, just look at it, form your opinions. I'm just taking everything in my power not to just take a gigantic bite. Oh, it's good. And the lean. There we go. That's the lean. Form your opinions. Definitely has got some moisture. Again, that's 4 slices into the lean. Other side. Form the opinions you want, family. Again, I'll give you the little. Okay. And. Okay, so 185, 195. I must go fetch 205. And I have an important note about 205 when I was pulling it that I'll tell you about. 205. I hope you guys are enjoying this. So we got 205 on the block, and I'll tell you this, something interesting is the lean is actually marginally more tender than 195. I can tell you that, and I'm telling you that right now versus saving it to the end is because I know I'll forget that, but that's interesting. It's definitely a little bit more tender, but just barely. Okay. I'm just really struggling for words each time I cut this in half. Man, that's good. Let's do it. That's the shot I want, right in there. Behold, 205. Point, I mean, just look at it. Point noticeably more tender, I would say potentially mushy. That's 205. Lean underneath the point, spongy, certainly tender. But we must taste the rainbow. Man, that's good quality product. All right. Lean. Dang, that looked good. Okay. Just coming right off the butcher block, guys. I'm not doing any tallow stuff. Where am I at? Come on, focus, baby. I'm not doing any tallow stuff, none of that. I'm just coming right off the block so you guys can see. Look at that. That looks really good. I like it. I will say, if you, this is just me being hypercritical of myself, but we always want to get better. I left just a little bit too much fat on top. It's not that big of a deal, but you can see there, if you can see right here, that little caramel at the top. And then as you get deeper, it gets less. It's just a little too thick, That color, that's pretty. That's what we want. This, just a little bit too white, but it'll eat well. All right, let's do it. 205. Lean. Okay. Okay. I know what I'll say about that one. Let us fetch the last one, 210. 210 is on the block. Well, hello, my little darling. Don't you just look spectacular? Okay, let's do it. All right, this is 210. And right off the bat, we have far less just juice drainage. I'm gonna show you guys this one because I wanna prove a point. This is right there at the midway slice, favoring the lean side, closer to the lean. Okay, can you see that? Form your opinions, Yeah, 210 is, it's tender. It is very tender. Let's pull some slices. Okay, I'm gonna take this middle piece because I'm pissed. All right, y'all, so check this out. This is just a long strip of point, and it's a mush ball. It's a mush strip. This is, it's just indexed over my finger. And all those muscle fibers are broken apart. There's no collagen in there really to be had, retaining any moisture. And if I accordion pull it, it's just, that is not ideal. I have hard opinion. I don't even want to eat this one. Well, I don't like that. I want to spit it out. It's bad. I don't like that at all. Gotta wash that back with a fridge sig. Woo. I don't even want to taste the lean. I guess I got to do it for the purposes of the video. Okay, lean, the obligatory lean slice. I can't lie, that is a really, really pretty lean slice. Looks good. And how does it accordion? Easily. Okay, I'm not so worried about eating this lean. Here we go. Okay. The lean certainly saved its bigger brother. It did. Wasn't bad. All right, the test is done, and let me share my thoughts accordingly. The whole point of this video was not for me to be the definitive lawmaker when it comes to brisket, actually the opposite. I wanted to test briskets in a controlled environment with the same systems and processes, other than, like we know now, pulling them at different temperatures. So here's the thoughts on the following, and I'll tell you which one is my favorite. First, the 185-degree brisket. Flavor-wise, it was delicious. It was really good. It had a nice balance of smoke flavor, and it was tender. I don't want to say reasonably tender. It was tender, but certainly towards the lean. The lean left some to be desired in the tenderness category. However, where 185 stood out was the moisture retention. In my opinion, it had some really good moisture retention. 185 was not disappointing, pretty happy with it, but you be the judge of 185. 195, incredibly juicy, incredibly balanced, great smoke flavor, great tenderness on the lean, great tenderness on the point. Was a good brisket overall. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It was really good. 205. 205 surprised me, truly. I expected 205 to be a little bit too done. I expected the 205 to kind of carry over and overdo itself. And I'll say on the point, it was just a little bit on the mushier side, maybe, but it's hard to beat that tenderness, you know? It's always a give and take with brisket. It's either, you know, overdone or underdone, but to hit it right on the mark, well, that's the dance that we dance. And in this case, 205, it was certainly something I would serve and charge money for and be proud of. Was it spot on? I don't know. You saw it, I pulled the slices. Maybe you think differently than I do, but that's up to you. You saw it. Those are my opinions. Let's talk 210. 210 was a disgrace. 210 pissed me off. No, it really did. The lean was surprisingly good. So the lean actually had good moisture. It was really tender, obviously, because we took it so far. And it's that combination of moisture and tenderness that makes a bite of brisket kind of, you know, it gives it that quintessential brisket bite when you have both of those. And to my surprise, the lean had both. Now that could be due in part to the trim. Maybe the trim had something to do with that. Meaning, you know, I took off a good bit of that lean. So the lean kind of had a head start on just being a good size that was able to take that heat. I don't know, there could be a lot of variables, but the point was disappointing. It was so far overdone, so far mushy. It was dried out. It was totally dried out. There is nothing, no saving grace to that brisket point for sure. And it's just a testament to, there is no real reason to take a brisket that far, really, ever. I couldn't see. And to top it all off, the point, the bark was burnt. It was burnt. It was like, there was a charred, burnt flavor. When I took that bite, it was just a mushy glop of burnt barbecue. And that sucked. But hey, it's part of the test. So which one reigned supreme, and what would I advise to you guys? I think 195 and 205 were the winners. I think 195 to 205 were the winners for sure. If I had to pick one, I think I would have to roll with 195. I think I'd have to roll with 195 for a few reasons. One, as I was slicing through the brisket, it retained that moisture all the way through. So that's really important. It didn't really lose moisture anywhere. The lean, it was tender while being wildly moist, while being super flavorful, not too smoky, not too burnt, just cooked just right. It had everything. And then the point. The point was tender, it was soft, it had structural integrity, that gelatin-like intermuscular fat was set in and there. It was good. So there it is, guys. That's my opinion. 195 to 205, you can't go wrong. And I'll say this in summary. About 80% of the way through the cook, I flipped the briskets and pointed the lean towards the fire. And then lastly, my final probing location was the point. So when I'm saying these temperatures, I was getting that in and around the point. I pulled a lot of different spots, which is not what I advise. I actually advise to not do that. But I was just making sure that I have multiple of the same temperature around the point. area. So that's how I ran this test. I hope it was helpful. I'm not gonna ask you guys for anything. If you like the video, feel free to do what you're inclined to do. But as always, I appreciate all your support. I really do. Love you guys. Big Frizz, meet and greet, over and out. And I normally throw food in my mouth and run off the camera, but I am so full off brisket. I have this little morsel.